All right, let's get right into this. I want you to imagine a war where in the very first week, you get a total military victory. I mean, the enemy's leader is gone, their navy is sitting at the bottom of the sea, their air force is in pieces. You've won. Done deal, right? Well, today we're going to break down a scenario where that exact perfect victory leads straight into an absolute strategic and economic nightmare.
This one sentence right here, it just perfectly captures the whole paradox. This is the story of a knockout punch that somehow only makes the opponent stronger. And it's about how a military giant gets brought to its knees, not by another army, but by a simple budget sheet. So, how on earth did that happen?
You know, the initial attack plan, it was picture perfect. It kicked off with a classic decapitation strike. On day one, Iran's supreme leader is taken out. Right after that, a massive show of force, over 900 airstrikes in just 2 days, hitting all the key targets. And by the end of that first week, Iran's navy was basically just gone. On paper, this was a flawless, overwhelming win.
But it wasn't a knockout, not even close. In fact, that final knockout blow never landed. And the reason why reveals this huge fundamental misunderstanding of the enemy. The planners, you see, made a critical cultural miscalculation.
Okay, so here's where that flawless plan just smacks right into a wall of cultural reality. See, the supreme leader, who is 86 years old, he reportedly knew the strike was coming and flat out refused to go into a shelter. In Shia Islam, that single act transformed his death. It wasn't an assassination anymore. It was martyrdom, a heroic sacrifice. So his death didn't decapitate the regime, it actually gave it a soul. It became this incredibly powerful symbol, turning a political fight into what many of his followers now saw as a holy war.
And this is where things just completely blew up in their face. Instead of collapsing, the Iranian military decentralized its command structure. So all of a sudden, there's no single head of the snake to cut off. The whole strategy is now useless. And what's worse, the airstrikes were pommeling these progressive cities like Tehran, the very places a popular uprising against the regime might have actually started. Meanwhile, the religious hardliners, up in the mountains, largely untouched. America had accidentally wiped out its potential allies and radicalized everyone else.
Iran's response was also completely unexpected. Instead of getting into a direct military fight it knew it couldn't win, it attacked American allies in the Gulf, places like Dubai, Bahrain, and Qatar. So why would they do that? Well, because Iran understood a weakness, an economic one, that America had kind of forgotten about.
See, Iran knew it couldn't win head-to-head, so it went right for America's economic Achilles heel, the petrodollar system. This is this sort of quiet agreement that's been propping up U.S. financial power for decades. Gulf allies sell their oil in U.S. dollars, and then, and this is the critical part, they invest those profits right back into the U.S. economy. By attacking these allies, Iran wasn't just hitting a bystander, it was taking a crowbar to the very engine of American global influence.
They didn't need to sink a massive aircraft carrier. Nope. All they had to do was turn off the tap. And they knew exactly where the main valve for the entire global economy was located. And that valve is the Strait of Hormuz. It's this incredibly narrow channel, just 21 miles wide at its tightest point. But through that tiny gap flows an unbelievable 20% of the entire world's daily oil supply. And on March 2nd, Iran slammed that door shut. The effect was just immediate and catastrophic. Oil prices shot up to over $126 a barrel. But look at this chart. The really wild number is the tanker traffic. It didn't just slow down, it fell off a cliff, down 81%. Why? Because insurance companies canceled all their war risk policies. And without insurance, commercial shipping just stops. The global economy just started to seize up. And just like that, the whole conflict changed. This wasn't a war about F-35s and aircraft carriers anymore. It became a brutal war of attrition, fought on spreadsheets and stock tickers. It became a battle of budgets.
This table right here, this is the real heart of the problem. This is why America couldn't afford to win. Just look at these numbers. Iran is using a Shahed 136 drone. The cost? About $20,000. Now, to stop that one drone, the US fires a Patriot missile. The cost of that? $4 million. But wait, it gets so much worse. Because these drones are tough to hit, you usually need to fire 2, maybe even 3 interceptors. So now you're spending up to $12 million to destroy something that costs less than a new Toyota. Iran can pump out 400 of these drones a month. America can only make 50 of the missiles needed to stop them. You just can't win that math. It's impossible.
The source material we're looking at uses a fantastic analogy for this. It says the American military is like a bodybuilder, absolutely terrifying to look at, but built for show, not for a long, scrappy fight. Its weapons are designed to be insanely expensive and complex, not cheap and effective, because, well, that's what's profitable for the defense industry.
So 4 weeks in, what's the scoreboard look like? Well, the regime didn't collapse. In fact, the dead leader's son took over. And his very first message was one of pure defiance. The strait stays closed. The war continues. Power was now consolidated under the hardlined IRGC. The initial U.S. objective was a complete and total failure.
And this left the United States with an absolutely impossible choice. It's a strategic checkmate, a total lose-lose situation. Option A, you walk away. If you do that, the petrodollar system starts to crack. Your allies lose all faith in you, and the whole American empire is exposed as a bluff. Okay, so what about option B? Stay and fight. Well, then you just bleed millions of dollars every single day in an unwinnable war, all while the global economy teeters on the brink of collapse.
Ultimately, when you boil it all down, this entire scenario hangs on one single powerful question. For decades, American global power has been built on this very simple idea. If you fear it, you obey it. But what happens when someone, a smaller opponent, simply stops being afraid? And that's a question with consequences that go way, way beyond any one battlefield.